Hey guys, so today I'm doing a video on my top 5 favourite standalone books. If you want to see what my top 5 favourite series are, I did a video on that ages ago, but I'll still link it down below. It seemed like you guys really liked that video, so I figured I would talk about some more books for those of you who are interested. These are my top 5 favourite standalone books, so not in a series. It was really hard to choose 5 favourites. I was going to do 10, but then I got to 8 like all-time favourites, and then when I tried to get to 10 I got to 11. So I was like, you know what, I'll just be really strict and cut it to 5. I tried to put them in order, although it's really close. So my first favourite book is Girl Interrupted by Susanna Kaysen. This does have a film, which I absolutely love, but I'm not really going to talk about the film here. I'm going to talk about the book. So Susanna Kaysen, the author, is writing about her own experience at the McLean Hospital, which she spent some time at when she was 18. I can't remember off the top of the head, I'm not even sure. I just flipped through the book to have a look if it tells you how long she's there. I think it's about 2 years in total. So I actually read it at a time where things in the book were relating to things in my own life, which I'm not going to get into. And I think there are parts that everyone can relate to. What I really like about this is it's not just the stories, there's more to it. It doesn't specifically have a whole storyline start to end. I feel like I'm not explaining it well. It's very hard to explain because there's so many different layers. She includes like sheets about her diagnosis and her admission, like all the documents. So it's really recounting the story about it being like his start to end, everything that happened. It's just really capturing what it was like. I would just recommend reading it if you have any interest in mental illnesses. I feel like I explained it really poorly just because it's not exactly a linear kind of novel. I would definitely recommend Girl Interrupted and the film as well. That's also really good. My next favourite is Jeffrey Eugenides. I hope he said his name right, but it's his novel The Virgin Suicides. Also one of my favourite films. So it's about the 5 Lisbon sisters, and the title probably gives it away. There's suicides. Could you just hear my dog bark? What I really love about this book is that it's touching on a very serious issue, but in a very interesting way. So these neighborhood boys who lived across the street from them, and you never really know who they are, what their names are, and it's the boys narrating it years and years later, and they're still like, I think in their 30s or something, 30s or 40s, trying to work out what led these girls to suicide. It references a lot of articles like a journal or whatever, or it just says article 73, but none of them are in the back of the book. The story of the girls are told kind of like in Girl Interrupted, kind of just parts of their story, not the entire kind of linear storyline. The story is kind of snippets of the girls and then snippets of them talking to other people who knew the girls and trying to figure it out, and it's just them trying to piece together why the girls committed suicide. And I just love the way it's written. I think it's beautifully written. It was definitely something I wasn't used to, but I loved it. I think I'm going to read more of his books, definitely. I can't recommend it enough. I'll definitely be reading it millions of times. I only read it recently. I fell in love with it straight away and I sped through it, and it was just beautiful. This is also a must read. I feel like I've got a bit of a theme, which you'll probably notice with my next book, which is quite short. It's John Marsden's So Much to Tell You. I got it years and years ago for 99 cents at Savers, and I absolutely loved it. It's about this girl, Marina, who doesn't speak. She's chosen to be mute due to something that happened in her past, although it's not spelled out though, so it kind of keeps you waiting to find out why. The family has sent her to a boarding school in hopes that she'll start to communicate again. It just follows her healing process and dealing with what happened in her past and learning to communicate again. It's really short. It's actually written in the form of a diary or a journal, although it's one that she was told to write by the school, and she ended up opening up to it quite a lot. So the further you read, the deeper she goes with things. There's actually a kind of half sequel. When I say that, it's because it's set in the same time period, but then continues after this book ends, if that makes sense. But it's from a different character in this book called Lisa, and I think it's her journal. I haven't read it yet. It's called Take My Word For It. I literally was going to buy it online like 2 nights ago to finally read it off Book Depository because I finally had money. It was out of stock or unavailable, or I don't know, and I was going to buy it. I was so devastated. So I'm so excited to read that. I really wanted to read that because I absolutely love this and the character Lisa in this. Oh, my hair's stuck to the book. I love how it's written. I love John Marsden. Tomorrow When the War Began is a great series as well. It's just really another great book that I would highly recommend. If you like the first 2 I've talked about, you'll probably like this as well because it's similar kind of themes. You guys should definitely read this because I love it so much, and it's only a light read, so definitely check it out. My next favourite is actually the only book I think I have 2 copies of. I originally had the original one in this book, and then they released another one with an extra chapter. so of course I had to buy it. But I'm talking about The Host by Stephenie Meyer. I know the author of Twilight, there are a lot of people who hate that, but please stay with me on this one. But this is the original book I had and loved the pieces, and then this is the extra one I got with another chapter. This is 10 million times better than Twilight. So much better. I was so shocked after reading Twilight how good this was. It's basically like a science fiction book, and I'm normally not a sci-fi person, but I love this. I think I've heard it being called a sci-fi book for those who don't like sci-fi. It's basically about these aliens who take over people's bodies, which sounds really weird, but they're inserted into the back of the neck. They become that person and they live on Earth, and it's just like a peaceful society. You don't need money, there's no violence, and although it may seem like a perfect world, there are humans who've escaped and hidden, have their own societies. And then there are the aliens whose host body, so it's called the host, the person is still there, whether it's just thoughts in the back of the mind, whether they're able to fully take control of their own body and like force the alien out. And this one follows a alien soul named Wanderer, or nicknamed Wanda, who does have her host body person still with her. The host body was Melanie, so Melanie and Wanda are living in the same body. Wanda has most of the control, but Melanie's still there, and she's got a lot of emotions and feelings that Wanda isn't used to because she's not a human. They learn to coexist, but it just keeps going from there. If you've seen the movie, it's 10 million times better. I hated the movie. It made some of the characters one-dimensional in my opinion, cut out a lot of my favorite parts, so I'd highly recommend the book. Don't be put off if you're not a sci-fi fan. Don't be put off by the author. Definitely a pleasant surprise. I've read it a million times. I've cried. I cannot recommend this book enough. And I would also like to say it was really hard to choose between this and my number one book. It was like 0.1% difference maybe, which was Looking for Ella Brandy. This book, oh my gosh. Okay, so it's by Melina Marchetta, and oh my gosh, I love this book so much. I think I got it at Savers as well. Always check op shops for books because you can find some really good ones. This also has a film, so literally every book I've mentioned except for So Much to Tell You has a film. Well, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know why. I think part of me is a little bit scared. It follows this girl Josephine, Josie. I don't know if me using the word "woke" will offend any of you, but they use it a lot in this book. So that's Europeans, like more Mediterranean European people. I think she's Italian, and it shows how she doesn't really fit into any box. She's kind of the odd one out in her own family, the odd one out at school. At school, she's not wealthy. She's only got a single mother. She was born out of wedlock, which isn't a big deal now, but this was set in the early 90s, so it's a bit more of a big deal. She's kind of looked down upon for that, and she's also looked down upon by some people for being European. She's an outsider in a lot of ways, and she's trying to grow as a person. It's just following her in like the biggest kind of year in her life. It's her last year of school. She meets her father, she falls in love, she finds out a lot about her family that she didn't know about, which kind of changes her whole view on herself. I think it's just a really good novel in terms of teenagers. I'm 17 like her as well, and I feel like some books, they don't represent teenagers, same with some films or even TV shows, as well as they could, and I feel like this is a really good example. I think it's just a really good exploration of just being a teenager and growing up and all these things and all these changes in your life that affect you and coping with them, and I just think it's written really well. So I would definitely recommend this book. If you're gonna get one book out of all of these, I would suggest this one. Made me cry as well. Can I just put that in? It made me cry as well. Yeah, I just love it. Okay, I just love it. I think I said I just love it, and it's so good a million times in this video, but I love all these books so much. If you're interested in reading any of these books, I'll put all the names down below. I'll also have down below my top 5 favorite book series video. Let me know if you've read any of my favorite books and what you thought of them, or let me know if you plan on reading them. And also tell me your favorite books. Also, if you want me to do a video where I compare the books to the films, just let me know in the comments. I'll give this video a thumbs up.